right under here. How are things?
Pretty good.
I'm gonna get out of your way here.
No problem. No problem. So there are a number of presentations tonight. So yours is just going to, if you go down here at 14.3,
We got just the PDF, so
Yep.
just scroll.
you can
Here.
scroll, or if you want, you can hit Control L, and it goes into like a slide mode. I don't-
Control L slide mode. All right, cool.
Yeah. Or you could always go up here, View, and do full screen. If you don't remember Control L.
All right, cool.
Yep. And then we'll try to. I'm gonna be down here, but they'll be controlling the projector from up there, and we'll try to get this up there at the right time.
Okay.
I'll hop up here to make sure it's the right thing is up there.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Thanks, man.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Good evening. Welcome to the November, is this the 13th, of Valley View School Board meeting. Mr. Badouris, if you would lead us in the pledge, I would ask everyone to rise. And then when we get done, we're going to do a moment of silence and maybe have some comments about the passing of our great community leader and school security director, Leroy Brown. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now a moment of silence for Mr. Brown. So, been in this community a long time. I've known Mr. Brown much longer than his wife. As you know, he passed away on October 31st, and it was a great loss to the Valley View community, the Bolingbrook community, and pretty much anybody who ever came in contact with the man. My heartfelt condolences go out to the family, Jeffrey and Leroy Jr. and Pat in particular. Again, a better family you will not meet, nicer people you will not meet, a stronger individual you will not meet. And I don't mean because of his 6'6" stature. I mean because of his moral character and fiber. He was a true community leader. He will be sadly missed by anybody that he ever touched or touched him. The accolades go on and on and on. I saw grown men who I never thought I would see cry at the passing of Leroy. You're looking at one of them. The mayors of our two communities were visibly upset. The sad part for all of us that knew him is we didn't have a chance or the opportunity to say goodbye to him. Nobody gets to choose when they get to go or when God calls you, but that was a toughie for everybody. So for my family, to the Brown family, and all those that worked with him and knew him, our heartfelt condolences to you as well, because I know that some of you worked with him every day. You will miss him greatly. Just his sheer presence and the calmness that he brought to really difficult situations on occasion, and the guiding wisdom that he brought, and you know, the sense of humor that he had. All those things. It was only kind of fitting that he was laid to rest the day before Veterans Day, because Leroy was a soldier of fortune, as it were, a Green Beret in the Vietnam War, something he almost never talked about. If you did have him talk about it, he was very humble in it, but a great servant his entire life. Those who have ever been with him in a tough situation, if you had a family member that was ill, if he told you something was going to be okay, it was okay. And you just knew, because he's the one who told you that things were going to be okay. He had that kind of presence, and he had that calming effect. And I will forever miss that man. And you don't realize what greatness looks like when it's quiet, and it's in the back of the room, and it's smiling. But when it's there and you need that calming effect, that's what Leroy brought to this community, to this school district, to me personally, and I'm sure many, many of you out there. So thank you for indulging me. And again, thanks for all those who attended the funerals and the Mass. Again, we lost a great leader. So thank you. Let's move down the agenda. Who's got the affirmation statement up? Ms. Carroll, if you would.
Our mission is to empower all learners to be college and career ready and to develop, grow, and achieve as productive citizens.
Agenda. Motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to ask that the board approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have motion second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Treasurer's report, Mr. Gazaffi.
Treasurer's Report 5.1 for October 2017 includes the usual summary of reports, financials, balance sheets, summary of revenue and expenditures, encumbrances, also the interim obligation payments for October totaling $4,327,695.65 for your action this evening.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo? Oh,
No-
sorry.
Not present.
I'm sorry. Secretary Sikora? Yes. Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Schedule of bills for November for representing Severn funds totaling $2,780,216.20 for your action this evening as well.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry. Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Also for information this evening are the summary of investments, the property taxes received, state funding update through October, as well as the school trust account activities through September. Any questions you have?
Any questions of Mr. Gazaffi on those items? I always ask the obvious. State funding, is that creeping up or is that holding steady?
Actually, it's not too bad. The bulk of it, 2.6 million, is about 40 days old. The remaining 900,000, we've got 700,000 of that is about 65 days old, and then we've got some smaller amounts as listed there going out as far as 240 days. But the bulk of it is not even 2 months old, which is quite an improvement from our past.
Quite an achievement for the state of Illinois. Thank you, Mr. Gazaffi. Moving down the agenda. Board consent agenda. Dr. Mitchum?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to ask the board to approve consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.5. 6.1 board meeting minutes for 10/23/17. 6.2 executive session meeting minutes for 10/23/17. 6.3 student activity contract approval request, Jamie McGee Elementary with Scholastic Book Fair. 6.4 gifts for Romeoville High School, and 6.5 trips for Bolingbrook High School.
Motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. We are spending money.
Member Campbell? Yes. Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach? Yes. President Quigley?
Yes. Student and staff recognition. Pillars from Valley View, Independence Elementary. Who is doing the presentation? I know you're doing it, but who else from up here? I'll go up. Welcome, Principal Mitchum. Welcome, Principal Mitchum. Have at it.
Thank you. Good evening, President Quigley, board members, senior leadership, and the community. My name is Jackie Mitchum, principal at Independence Elementary. To my left is our interim assistant principal, Justin Ipama. Independence nominates our Boys Club sponsors as Valley View's pillars tonight. Independence started the Boys Club last year with 4 male staff volunteers who continue to sponsor and volunteer for the club. Jason Ware, Mike Allen, Tony Santona, and Jason Hendry head up the club with a focus on social emotional lessons, presentations, and an emphasis on gentlemanlike conduct. There are currently 30 boys who meet after school every day. These gentlemen are known for having high expectations and a commitment to the boys with a desire for them to be successful. Some motivating factors are they have tie Thursdays, where the boys all wear a tie for the staff and students to see. They even have their own business card. The impact of these 4 gentlemen shows from last year's data. And we know we have to have some data, so I got something for you here. Last year, our students' attendance in the group increased from 78% to 88%. On tie Thursday, it increased to 98% attendance. 29% decrease in referrals in grades 3 through 5, where we went from 51 down to 22. And then 74% of students increased in at least one reading level. So definitely that other academic side with social emotional support. We are looking for the impact for this year as well. Thank you, Mr. Ware, Mr. Allen, Mr. Santona, and Mr. Hendry for being great role models for our male students and modeling through your actions in which our boys can grow academically and social emotionally. Congratulations on being a pillar of Valley View.
Mrs. Delamorte and Mrs. Sharko, it appears based on the data that if you wear a tie, 98% of the kids come to school and they all learn to read better, so we should be able to work that out in negotiations.
Whatever motivates them, right? Thank you so much, everyone.
Get the tall guy in the back. Let's go.
Yeah, that's you.
Come on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Rob Rose.
Members of the community, Board of Education, President Quigley, senior leadership, and Dr. Mitchum. My name is Rob Rose. I'm the assistant principal for athletics and activities at Bolingbrook High School. Very proud tonight to honor one of our boys cross-country runners, Tyler Cushing, who is a state qualifier at this year's IHSA cross-country state finals. Before I introduce Coach John Sullivan, I just want to say that he has coached the girls program the last couple of years, and he took over the boys program this year. This year, we were able to qualify both of our boys and girls cross-country teams out of the regional into the sectional. And I can't think of a time, John and I were talking about it earlier, when that's happened before. So I just want to give kudos to the work that John and his staff has done, and also obviously our middle school feeder programs who continue to do a great job with sending us students who are outstanding student athletes. So with that said, very proud of you, Tyler, for what you've accomplished. And the good news about Tyler is he's only a sophomore. So I expect more things to come. No pressure, Tyler, but more things to come here in the future. With that, I will introduce our head coach, John Sullivan.
Thank you very much, Rob. Before I talk about Tyler and cross country, I just would like to say thank you to the Board of Education for your service. My wife has been a board member, school board member in our community for the last 11 years, so I'm fully aware of the time commitment that you all undertake and the time and dedication that it takes to be a board member. So I appreciate you for your time and in doing that for our community. Cross country, if you're not familiar with cross country, it's basically a distance race. In the middle school, it's a 2-mile race. And then when you get to the high school level, it's a 3-mile race. It's a no-cut sport, so we open up the program to anybody that wishes to join, no matter what shape, size, whatever you want to do. If you're in a fall sport or a spring sport, we recommend you coming out to cross country, just maybe getting conditioned for your sport. But we really start in June. So we really encourage the middle schoolers and to come out and join our program, and especially those in high school who wish to run cross country to start in June, because it's basically, that's when we start building up our mileage, building up our distance. So for this current year, I took over the boys. We had 29 girls on the girls team, and we had 18 boys on the boys team. Now, it might not sound like a lot, and it really isn't in our sport. When we compete against some of the other schools in our locally, some of these schools have at least like 100 people on their teams. So we are very small as far as organization-wise, but we do compete with very large teams. So But we do have success, that's for sure, as Rob mentioned. We did qualify this year, first time both teams qualified out of the regional to the sectionals, and we can't remember if that's even been done before. I've been coaching the girls for the last 7 years. 6 of those years, we've managed to qualify out of the regional as a team, and our goal this year with the boys was to qualify as a team out of the regional, and we did. So that was pretty cool. Basically, the way it works is as you work during the season, you run all your runners at all the invites, and then when you get up to conference, that's when you start looking for your top runners. So basically, then it starts to become really competitive when you're looking for your top 7 runners, because after conference, when you go to the regional, you're basically running 7 runners, and that's when you're competing against all the other schools in the region. So this year we had a really good, solid team. And then after the region, we go into sectionals, and this year's sectional, 5 teams from the sectional advanced to state as a team. All 5 teams that came out of our sectional were in the top 10 at the state this year, so we come out of a very, very competitive sectional. So a little bit about Tyler. He's a very dedicated runner. Some of his stats this year at the Hinsdale Invite, which is one of our first invites. He ran the sophomore race. He came in first place out of 201 runners in that race. We were also compete against other teams in a Plainfield Invite. It's actually a relay where him and a teammate Arj Najib, they both won. They won that race. We competed in an invite out in Tinley Park, and the boys. We were going to see a team that we really like to compete against, Lincoln Way East, who's a very strong team when it comes to track and field and cross country. So our goal was to beat them, and it was a really hot day, very warm day, and Tyler was competing against their number 1 runner all the way throughout the whole race. It was just between those two, and Tyler beat him out. So Tyler won that race out of 113 runners, and we actually beat Lincoln Way East too. So that was a huge undertaking by the boys. Past that, during conference, then we went to conference. Tyler came in 4th place out of 101 runners. He was all conference runner. In the regional, he was 11th place. Sectionals, he came in 15th place out of 140 runners, and that's where he was selected as an individual to advance to state. Down at the state meet, he came in 35th place out of 210 runners. His time was 14:58. So think about it, 3 miles, 5 minutes per mile. That's less than 5-minute miles, which is pretty fast. And it's been 11 years since a boy has competed and ran at the state race from our school. So that's another huge accomplishment for Tyler here. Tyler is the 3rd fastest sophomore in the state. So for those of you that, I know we're data driven here, but I like to look at data myself. But he is actually the 3rd fastest sophomore in the state, which is kind of cool. His parents are great support to our program. I got to know them very well when we were down at state. So his mom's here, and thank you for being here tonight as well. Tyler is also a great student outside of the sport. He's a great student, very, very high academic achiever, and we're very proud of him. And I'm so happy that I got 2 more years with him after this year. That being said, though, we're losing 4 seniors who are our top 7 runners this year. And for those of you involved in the middle schools and elementary schools, I ask you to kind of talk up cross country, because it really starts at your level where it gets their interests and builds up the interests of running. Running's a great thing. You got Girls on the Run activities. A lot of elementary schools get involved in that. Just to get your schools interested in doing it, and then they could join our summer camps, and then as they grow older, they could run in middle school, and then eventually when they get to us, they could compete on our cross country teams. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much, and congratulations, Tyler.
you ever notice those runner guys all look thin? I always notice when they're running after they run about 4 or 5 miles, they don't look like they're having as much fun. Congratulations, young man. That's really fast, in my opinion. I don't know. Where are we at? WGN. BHS Teacher of the Month. Mr. Gonzalez, if you would, please. Mr. Pascavage, Dr. Pascavage.
Dr. Pascavage, proud principal of Bolingbrook High School, Board of Education, senior leadership, community, and BHS staff that's here. Thank you. It's with great pride that I present a teacher that brings great honor to our profession, to our school, and to our community. Selected out of 22,000 teachers in Illinois, Mr. Orlando Gonzalez was the WGN Teacher of the Month. Gonzo, as the staff calls him, was nominated by students in his adventure education class. I was able to spend the afternoon with the students, Mr. Gonzalez, and WGN. It was truly a unique experience. Of the footage that they got, you know, when you watch the clip, it's kind of, you're like, hey, I remember when they did that, I remember when they did this. But there was a really special moment that didn't get in the clip when they were talking to the student, and I got to interview her a little bit before. And I was like, you know, why did you do this? And she's like, well, I never thought he would win, but he deserved to win. And just in my mind, it was that young lady, it meant that much to her to try to get you an accolade that she thought she had zero chance to win, and she wrote this long essay, for lack of better words. But then when they're interviewing her, she says, he pushes us, he's patient, but he doesn't push us too far. And so when I asked her what she meant by that, she said, he gets the best out of me. I want to work hard for Mr. Gonzalez. So before me, please put your hands together for the WGN Teacher of the Month, Orlando Gonzalez.
Your choice. He's going to say a few words.
Okay.
Well, a local celebrity, you got to, you know.
I just really want to thank my student, Brittany Pendleton, for taking the time and effort for acknowledging me for this nomination. I've been overwhelmed with the attention. I also want to thank my wife, who's here, my coworkers, Molly DeServe, Katie Timmer, and the whole Kinetic Wellness staff at Bolingbrook High School. Rob Rose and Mr. Pascavage. Thank you.
Thank you. High school board liaisons. Who's up first? I wasn't at the last, I missed the last meeting that you guys did this at, so who? You didn't do it? Oh, first time. Okay, well, I didn't miss it. Step on up, introduce yourselves kindly. Thank you. These guys got the message on Tie Day, apparently. Looking spiffy, gents.
Thank you.
And lady.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, along with community members. My name is Tony Olea, and I will be your student liaison for the year, along with my peers. This year, I was awarded the great honor of sitting in on interviews to help decide this year's liaisons. A little bit about myself. I'm the president of Thespian Troop 3413 at the Bolingbrook High School. I'm the co-captain of the speech team, and I've participated in a few plays and musicals that the school's produced in the last few years. I'm also a member of Vibe, a choir that just started up that I'm really excited to be in because I didn't think that I could sing. And I look forward to representing and drawing feedback from my fellow students, and I'm deeply honored to be receiving this position again. My favorite part of BHS is in my senior year, all of the relationships that I've created with all my teachers, the great mentors that I've been lucky to have, and people that have just believed in me and been able to push me like Mr. Gonzalez. I've never had him, but like teachers like that, like teachers who have been, push their students and encourage them to do their best. And I'm really happy that Bolingbrook High School has some teachers like that.
Good evening. My name is Kazim Niaz, and it is an honor to be able to serve as a student liaison for a second year. I am from Bolingbrook High School, and I am currently a junior. I am ready to serve as the voice for our school, along with my peers here today. Something to know about me is that I'm an ambitious person inside and outside of the school. I believe that we set goals to accomplish our dreams on a daily basis, and along with that, I see myself as an attorney in the future with a successful educational career. Support from my family and mentors has made me who I am today and what I can become in the future. Valley View School District has been around in my family since Bolingbrook High School first opened its doors. Education is something that I value because I see the potential it can bring for all of us. Bolingbrook High School has been a place that demonstrates just that. Every day there are so many opportunities for a BHS student and helps us to grow and be the best we can be. We have made our school a place that advances both socially and academically, and I look forward to making our community a place where we can all succeed no matter who we are and where we come from. I appreciate your time for allowing me to present myself this evening.
Hello, my name is Angel Lee, and I am a junior at Bolingbrook High School. I have a diverse background, but my academic endeavors are the most prominent. I am enrolled into 4 different honor societies. I'm also in top 15 in my class. I'm in Mathletes, ROTC, and student government. I was also a cheerleader. The reason why I wanted to become a student liaison officer is because I always feel an overwhelming need to be a voice for the unheard. Also, I feel this gives me the exposure I need to be a leader in my community, and it also provides me with the opportunity to be of service to others since I am benefiting the current and future students in the school district. The best part of Bolingbrook High School are the classes that are offered. They have challenged me and changed me for the better. A lot of my gratitude goes towards the excellent group of teachers that I was blessed with having. That's it.
All right, greetings everyone. My name is Eduardo Palma, and I am a senior representing the student interest within Bolingbrook High School. My intentions with our education is to be provided the most perfect educational experience possible with the desire to be able to apply our wisdom into our contemporary civilization. I am here to represent the interests of the student body in Bolingbrook High to forward you our interest we would like to see accomplished in our institution. What I wish to accomplish myself within my role as student liaison is to be able to be an effective messenger between the school board and my peers, coordinating the commands and requests of the scholars to all of you. I am a shrewd adolescent capable of manifesting efficiency to the needs of my leaders and an insightful mentor who delivers serviceable information to those in need. As a leader and follower, it is my best interest to combine both powers and exert my greatest potential to my role as student liaison. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cameron Braswell, and I am student liaison from Bolingbrook High School. The clubs that I am involved in are Scholastic Bowl, wrestling, track, anime club, and I was part of the football team. And to acknowledge Mr. Gonzalez, thanks to him, I was able to go to sectionals and perform at my highest caliber through his weight training and everything. And this concludes our introduction, and our challenge to you is to help guide us so we can prepare for our next report to our best ability. So what is your opinion on our role as liaisons? And we seek your input for opinions. What are your expectations for us as student liaisons for the next board meeting? That concludes our reports.
Thank you. Tell you what, we'll send emails. I'll ask the board members to send an email to Dr. Pascavage to answer your question, if everybody may have different expectations. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and go back and report to your fellow students how wonderful it is to do this and how great a board we are. Thank you. Romeoville, next. You guys don't have to stay. We know you're, of course, you got to report what happens the rest of the meeting. But you got homework too, so it's just life, you got choices.
Good evening, board members. Before we begin, on behalf of the students and staff at RHS, we'd like to recognize our school board for National School Board Member Day. We've given you an Our House shirt, lanyard, and gift card. Thanks for all you do. In the month of October, the students and staff of RHS have done a number of things not only to give back to our school, but to our community. Each of us up here has been picked to represent RHS and are excited to be here. We learned a lot from the interview process with the board members, Ms. Campbell and Ms. Gilbo, and our RHS administrator, Mr. Aguilar. Thank you for that experience. Now each student will introduce themselves. To start, I'm Allison Hayes, a Romeoville High School senior class president, Best Buddies officer, and also involved in National Honor Society, Key Club leadership, the morning announcements, and Interact Club.
I'm Michael Ziegler. I'm a junior here at RHS. I'm in leadership, National Honor Society, Junior Council, and SAD Club.
Hello, I'm a senior at RHS. My name is Christian Aranda, and I'm on senior council, leadership, and part of the wrestling team.
Good evening. I'm Sam Keppel. I'm a junior at Romeoville High School. I'm the manager for our girls tennis team. I'm on varsity tennis. I'm involved in Best Buddies. I'm in our leadership program. I'm a speech team advisor. I'm in the National Honor Society, and I'm in the top 10% of my class.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Sanchez. I'm a senior at RHS, obviously. I'm the captain of the varsity Palms team. I'm a part of senior council, leadership, and I do morning announcements along with Allie.
Hello, I'm Nyana Allen. I'm a senior at RHS. I'm part of leadership, Best Buddies, Key Club, AP Lit Council, Senior Council, and the National Honor Society of School Scholars, High School Scholars. Tonight, we want to just touch on a few things that we've done this past month. This year, for Trunk or Treat, each year we have a Key Club organize an annual Trunk or Treat where each club in our school decorates a car according to a chosen theme. The kids in the community come and trunk or treat for $1. And the Key Club donates the proceeds to the members in the community battling cancer. This year we were able to donate $400 back to each of the families. It's a fun time and a great way to get all of our clubs together for a little friendly competition. We want to thank the Romeoville Police Department for participating in this event with us each year.
This year, our Growing Interact Club hosted their first Souls for Souls shoe drive. Each class was told to bring in pairs of shoes to be donated to the Souls for Souls program. The winning class won a pizza party. It was heartwarming to find out we received over 200 pairs of gently unused shoes, each enough to fill a whole office. Interact Club was excited to have such an impactful event and hopes to have another second semester. Several Interact members also helped deliver dictionaries with the Romeoville Rotary to third grade students in Romeoville. It was a wonderful experience to see all the smiles on the third grade faces, and we are grateful for such a strong partnership with the Romeoville Rotary Club.
Just like every year, a select number of our students at RHS and our leadership organization are chosen to represent our school and learn how to be better leaders in our school and in our community at the SPC Leadership Conference. This year, we got to listen in on a speaker talk about getting out of our comfort zones, being empowering leaders, and to remember that everyone is going through their own problems, so be kind to one another. We also came up with great ideas for future events and ways to get students and staff at RHS to connect. The SPC Conference is something that is looked forward to every year by the students in leadership.
Fall play Troubled Cats. Our drama club created a dramatic comedy that was a big hit. Everyone had fun watching the play and performances were packed every night. We offer our congratulations to the cast and crew for a job well done. If you weren't able to come see the play, mark your calendars for a musical, The Wiz, with the dates in early March.
In October, we had our Fall Sports Awards Night, which concluded our football, soccer, cross country, golf, volleyball, and tennis season. We would like to mention the success of our boys soccer team. The boys lost in the first round of the playoffs to Oswego East 4-3 in penalty kicks, but we ended the season 16-5-2, which was RHS's best season in school history. We'd also like to congratulate our All-State player David Ku, who was only the third student ever to receive All-State honors in soccer at RHS. We would like to offer our congratulations also to our 72 fall athletes who had a GPA of 3.5 or higher during the fall season. All of our teams are looking forward to progressing into next season.
Our Orange Crush school involvement. This year, our Orange Crush fan section did a complete 180. Our fan section was filled not just at our home games, but at our away games as well. This year, we had themes picked out for every game, and we were amazed to see how many people participated and showed their school spirit. Regardless of what was on the scoreboard, our teams were supported until the very end.
Some math news at RHS. We would like to congratulate our math teacher, Mr. Rose, who was nominated and selected to serve as a ISBE team member to establish performance standards for the state-sponsored SAT in Springfield in September. Congratulations, Mr. Rose. Romeoville High School senior Malik Tafa was accepted and participated in the Midwest High School Scholars Actuarial Academy for underrepresented groups, a one-week summer program designed especially for above-average African American, Hispanic, and Native American high school students who excel in mathematics, enjoy learning, and like to solve complicated problems. Only 20 students are accepted into the summer program each year. Malik has demonstrated consistent success in his math classes for the last 3 years and felt very challenged by this experience. Congrats, Malik. Lastly, for the first Mathletes competition, the team walked away placing second overall, where the freshman and sophomore teams placed first and the juniors and senior team placed second. Congratulations, math team.
This month, RHS also hosted Almost a Spartan Night. We welcome all 8th graders who will be attending RHS next fall to join us for an inside look on academic, sports, and student life here at Romeoville. Our administration put a great program together that included the head chair of each department, as well as our principal and assistant principals, core content administrators, and a student panel. The highlight of our night was, of course, our student panel. Each student present was able to give advice, answer questions, and share their experience at RHS. The night was a great success, and the gym was packed. Thank you to our administration for inviting leadership students to be a part of such a wonderful event. We are glad to help make these 8th graders' transition to high school a bit less nerve-wracking.
Finally, we would like to end with a video celebrating our AP Scholars. We're very proud of our fellow Spartans. On Open House Night, our administration hosted an AP night to promote our AP program. The gym was packed with students who are current and future AP students. The staff and student panel answered questions about AP classes and AP testing. Many students gained an appreciation for what involved in AP classes. On this night, 10 AP testing scholarships were given out to our students in the AP testing that would happen in May. It was another great night at our house. This shows our staff honoring our AP students by posting yard signs at their homes.
And that concludes our presentation for all of you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You know who's really glad you got a 5 on your AP? Your mom and dad. So before you wise children leave the building, November 11th was originally called what? For my Chipotle card. Anyone? Not called Veterans Day. Come and get it. No, you don't get it. The kids get it. All right, kids. Sorry. We'll bring it to the next meeting. We'll have another trip. Let's see. Board liaison reports. Thank you, students. Safe travels. And have a great Thanksgiving. Board liaison reports. From my right? From my left?
Yes. Trying to think who attended with me. Member Campbell and myself attended our first teacher appreciation meeting. We're going to continue to have these hopefully on a monthly basis to show teachers how much they are appreciated and in the district, and come up with ideas of how we can show that to them.
Thank you. I do have a legislative update. As you know, the General Assembly had 2 weeks of fall veto session, last week of October and the first week of November. That has concluded. General Assembly overrode 17 vetoes that the governor had, either total vetoes or partial vetoes. There was a bill that was called to freeze property taxes. Nobody likes paying property tax. Nobody likes paying taxes per se. If you recall, they passed an education funding reform bill in late summer, early August, I guess it was, that would have benefited Valley View to this tune of about $1.4 million. The tax proposal that was out there would have not only taken back that money, but put us back about $3.5 million, Gary? Maybe even more?
I'm not, the open issue was the new property coming on. Everything that I read, nothing indicated new property was exempt, but I did get a clarification from our legislative consultant that new property was exempt. So the impact was anywhere between 3 and 6.4 million.
Yeah, between $3 and $6.4 million. We work very diligently, Gary and his crew, to be good stewards of your money. That's the number one job of a school board. It's right in there when you swear your oath of allegiance, and it's kind of disheartening. I get it. I understand. It's political popular to freeze property taxes. In some ways, it's disingenuous because you're not really freezing people's property taxes. There are portions in your bill that would be exempt from that. So you as a public would think that you're getting the same bill you got last year, but there would still be an increase. We try to manage this very well. I think this district does an outstanding job of managing the money that we're given and we're granted, and we try not to do anything that affects classrooms, but this would have been a severe hit. This isn't going to go away. It's an election season. It's politically popular. I don't know that it's even going to go away if it was an election season. This has been talked about for a great number of years. Is it a 2-year? Is it 4 years? Is it going to be permanent? It doesn't necessarily affect downstate school districts like it would affect our district. They're somewhat exempt. When I say downstate, pretty much south of I-80 and west of or east of Route 39. This would have been devastating to where we are, to where we're going. We try to plan and project out where we're going to be and what our expenses and our needs are. We have building stuff, we have teacher salaries, we have all types of things that we are responsible for. And Gary and his shop, again, they're good stewards under Jim's guidance to try and manage our finances. This will come back and we'll figure out ways to manage it. But we do have a legislative consulting team. They were able to meet with leaders and let them know exactly what this meant to a district like ours. And we are a district that other districts look at because we are financially sound. And they say, if you're hurting them, what are you doing to the districts that aren't as financially successful. And that's when you're, it's a good, bad thing for us, because you don't want to be punished for being successful and so on financially. But by the same token, you don't want to have those things taken away because you are being successful. So I just wanted to address that this evening. And the General Assembly does not come back into session until January 23rd. There's legislative filings for those who are running for state representative, state senator. All the statewide offices are up, governor all the way down to comptroller, secretary of state, so on and so forth. All those filings will be done by the end of the month of November. There may be some petition challenge, that kind of thing. But again, General Assembly will be back. They have scheduled 52 days of session. So from now, actually starting January 23rd all the way to the end of May, which is the scheduled adjournment. So we'll see what happens in those period of time. And there'll be some bantering behind the scenes, and there'll be some maneuvering on this, but we will see where it goes. But that bill did pass out of the House with 72 votes, I believe. 75 votes, sorry, Gary, thank you. So it's out there. Next up, any audience participation? Anybody who wishes to address the board this evening, please step forward, give us your name. We ask that you limit your conversations to 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you, please.
Is it okay to put this down below?
Sure.
Good evening again, board. My name is Susan Kuttner, and I am back actually regarding some old issues, some new issues, and a new request for the board. To start with, looking to see if the board has any public response regarding the request in the previous board meeting in October regarding the founded ISB, Illinois State Board of Education complaint findings, and what's being done to correct and prevent any continued patterns.
The response from the board was submitted to you via our attorneys. And you did receive that, so there will be no public response to your request.
Okay, we do have some additional individuals and citizens and residents in the audience. I don't know if you want to raise your hand if you're here to hear anything additional. They did not receive my response, and it is a public issue, as these are staff members that span across more than 1 or 2 schools. They service multiple schools. The teachers or staff involved are not just limited to one school, and it's not an individual issue. And I am looking for a response from, respectfully, Dr. Mitchum, I am looking for a response from the board, as we have been dealing with the district for a couple years on some of these issues. And I am looking to come to the board to hear the board, what the board is doing in this respect.
The board has delegated that responsibility to me. As a result of the litigation specific to your concerns, we are responding through our legal representation. As far as any other parents who have concerns specific to their children, they can submit those concerns to us, and we would be more than willing to respond to those individually as well.
Okay, and does the board have any, I'm just looking to have for a board response as to whether or not they've delegated this to the superintendent, as we've elected the board to supervise the superintendent. I'm not understanding.
That is correct. So Dr. Mitchum is the resident expert, if you will, on this, and we have delegated it by hiring him, and in these situations, he's our representative on these specific cases.
Okay.
We have delegated that authority to him.
Sure. Just to, not take up too much time, I do have a new issue to request or to address with the board, and a request that goes along with that. And that would be that in light of some new articles and new reports in October, there seems to be a continuation of issues. On wavy.com on October 26, 2017, there was a posting unrelated to this district that was eerily similar to many of our families' experiences. It was a disturbing video regarding mistreatment of children, and very similar to the situations that the families that I'm meeting with have experienced and I've experienced in our family. So there was I'm not sure if the board's aware, but there was a new police report, number 17-5166, referring to a student being dragged by staff just last month. This is a concern, is a continuing pattern related and independently of the findings that were discussed at the last meeting. So in light of that and the concern for the effect that has on all students that are witnessing children being dragged in schools or other misconducts or violations that may be continuing, in addition to the victims of those violations, we don't want to create a society of apathetic children growing up and seeing that we don't do anything to stop mistreatment or violations. And in light of that, my request would be for the board to consider the use of cameras in the rooms for isolation room, low stimulation, calm down spaces, the hallways of the schools. As demonstrated in many, many districts, they do have these cameras and surveillance to aid in monitoring that there is no continued pattern as there seems to be.
In reference to the police report, I am aware of this report that was lodged against district personnel. Until such time that the police report concludes, we have no statement concerning that. It is an allegation. It has not been substantiated to be true, and we will wait for those findings before we proceed further. Concerning the cameras, the district has already committed with support from our union to put cameras in our high-need rooms for the purposes that you just described, as well as for the protection of our teachers when allegations are made against them that may not be true or are unfounded. But we are in the process of equipping those rooms with cameras.
Okay, and would that be true of the rooms and the hallways as well?
Yes.
Okay, well that's that's a nice update, obviously. I appreciate that. And from the board, is there anything further that you have or that's being done to ensure that the children are safe?
Again, I want to preface your comment with that being an allegation. We have nothing substantiated that would indicate that our children are not safe. And if we do, then we will draw a conclusion on that and make the appropriate recommendations. But for you to stand at the podium and indicate as fact that our students are not safe, I take umbrage with. And until such time that that has been concluded as true, we will deal with that as an allegation, but not as fact.
Okay. I was looking to see if the board
Rest assured that if anybody up here thought that there was something untowards going on to a student, that we would act. We have asked Dr. Mitchum to act on our behalf and to intervene. There are lots of other people in the buildings that would also act in that fashion as well.
Okay. I appreciate that. I was not, this is not, this was a report that I FOIA'd. This was not a, I don't even know the name of the child in this incident, but it's concerning to see that some of these allegations or these issues are still coming up. So.
I understand. I appreciate that. We're a very large school district. I don't know of the district in the state that is the size of ours and even smaller that doesn't have similar allegations. It's just something that comes with the territory, but we will deal with it accordingly.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to address the audience this evening, the board this evening?
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Drugan. I live at 164 Seabury Road in Bolingbrook. I originally came here tonight to offer my thanks to the administration and the board and the parents for working together to solve problems that impact the kids in our school district. And I see we have made some progress, but we have a ways to go. I'm involved with the child advocacy group, and my goal is to hopefully work with all three groups of people to solve some of these problems. So keep up the good work. The other thing is, guess who Robbie Rose's third grade teacher was?
You.
Mitchum.
Yes, I'd like to ask that the board approve student due process cases A and B as presented.
Motion. Oh, sorry.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell? Member Perro?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next, high school language.
Yes, sir. Action Report 11.1, we are seeking approval for the adoption of a new high school language course, Chinese 1. Information about this course was presented at the last board meeting, and we are making this recommendation and this proposal as a result of global trends and the idea that Chinese has been identified as a critical language by the federal government, as well as a student interest survey conducted in terms of staying in line with global trends to provide our students with increasing opportunities.
Motion?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Having been to China, there's 1.6 billion people who speak Chinese. Probably not a bad idea that we teach it. And I'm sure we have a substantial number of them, Chinese speaking students in our district already. I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure we have them. So thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Okay, 11.2, we are seeking approval on one board policy this evening. As per our normal routine, all board policies are subject to regular review by our legal attorney and in accordance with Illinois School Code, state and federal law. And this particular policy is policy 5130, responsibilities concerning internal information. There's been no changes, just updates with the references provided in this policy.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Next, Mr. Gazafi. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
First action report this evening is a recommendation to approve the consultant services agreement with JAR Consulting as our legislative consultant based in Springfield. They specialize in representing clients' interest in legislative matters. As Steve alluded to earlier, school funding reform has indeed occurred. Now it's up to us to make certain that our interests are represented as the formula for adequacy is applied. As we've seen in years past, while the state may make a commitment to funding education, actually funding it is a completely different story. And so having a voice down in Springfield certainly makes us feel like our voice will be heard. As Steve also alluded to, I did share the severely detrimental effect of a tax freeze would have on Valley View, and asked him to share that with any legislator that might lend a sympathetic ear. For those reasons, I am requesting to approve the agreement as we have for the past 7 years with JAR Consulting of Springfield for the 2018 calendar year in the amount of $3,000 per month. So moved.
Second.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next, Gary.
Next is a resolution recommendation to approve our tentative 2017 tax levy. In accordance with the Truth in Taxation Act, the district must officially determine and adopt a tentative tax levy at least 20 days prior to the final adoption of the levy, which will occur at the December 11th board meeting. If the increase of the 2017 levy is in excess of 105% of the previous year's aggregate extension, with the exception of debt service, a public hearing must be held on said levy. Before I get into the specifics, just kind of reviewing some of the exhibits that are attached in the packet. We've got our equalized assessed valuation history. In that, we're estimating a growth in equalized assessed value, or the property value of the district, to be $2,460 million, or a 6.71% increase. This is the third consecutive year we've had growth in our EAV, but if you factor in the last 5 years, overall 5-year average growth in EAV is 1.88. If you look at it from a 10-year perspective, we've had a negative 0.73 growth in property values over the last 10 years, but it's good to see that trend going up. Exhibit 2 is a comparison of the 2016 extension. What that means is that that's what actually was extended or received by the school district to all property taxpayers, both commercial, industrial, and residential, to the levy request for this year. The total levy request is estimated at 4.93. If you factor in debt service at 5.31, total levy is 4.99, or $177.3 million. Exhibits 3 through 3.4 are pretty detailed, a lot of numbers there, but basically it projects the tax rates and what the extension scenarios should be, because we don't know what our overall EAV, excess valuation, or new property is going to be. So we make some assumptions, both from a less than and a greater than perspective, to make sure that we're not missing anything. The last exhibit in the packet is a consumer price index over the last 10 years. For this year, we are limited to a CPI, Consumer Price Index, of 2.1%. That's the highest it's been since 2011, when it was 3.0. The 5-year average of CPI is 1.4, so that's what, on average, we've been receiving over the last 5 years. Some key takeaways of the levy. Operating levy, $145.8 million. That's a 1.92% over last year's request. The debt service extension will increase by $1.59 million to $31 million, which is a 5.31 request, down from the 8.8% in 2016. Those numbers are fixed. They're based on our existing outstanding debt and our debt service repayment schedule, kind of like your mortgage repayment. So that brings our total levy request for 2017 to $177.3 million. We will not receive that much new revenue, but we are requesting more due to our EAV and new property, as I mentioned, being unknown at this time. Our best guess as to what we will actually receive due to being limited to that CPI of 2.1 is $145.4 million, or $6.45 million in new operating revenue. Overall expected levy increase, including new property and debt service, equals $8 million, or 4.76%. So I know that's a lot to be thrown at you, but everything is supported with the documentation in the attachments, and I am recommending approval of this tentative levy resolution 1600 to set the estimated 2017 tax levy.
Motion? Motion seconded. Is there any discussions? Any questions, Gary? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Final action this evening is employee insurance benefit renewals for 2018. These are the results and recommendations from our Alliant Mesero Insurance Services, our consultant, after marketing our third-party administration for health, vision, dental, and stop-loss coverages. For health, they are recommending we remain with Blue Cross Blue Shield as our third-party administrator for our self-funded health and dental plans beginning January of 2018. They are representing no change in the admin fees, but an increase in the RX rebate, which will overall decrease our renewal by 39.2% in that aspect. But it is conceivable we may see an increased cost of prescription claims based on that increased rebate. In dental, no change, as has been the case for the last several years at $2.68 per employee. Vision, we are in a 4-year contract which runs through December of 2020, so nothing changing there. Specific stop loss. We've had a bad year in terms of specific stop loss claims. Specific stop loss basically tasks the district being responsible for the first $270,000 of any eligible individual claim for a plan year January through December. Mesero approached 13 carriers. Sun Life was our incumbent carrier, quoted a rate reflecting a 47% increase over the prior year. That's the best we could do based on the bad year that we had. In terms of life and disability, again, they approached the markets with Liberty Mutual quoting the most competitive rate with a savings of 16% when you combine both life and disability, and this would be a 3-year rate guarantee through December of 2020. Overall, when you combine all of the costs for health, dental, stop loss, and life and disability, our fixed costs will increase by an estimated 1.2% for the 2018 calendar year. We feel that's appropriate, and therefore we recommend that effective January 1st of 2018, we approve the renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield as our TPA for health and dental, and recommend specific stop-loss coverage with Sun Life and a 3-year contract with Liberty Mutual for our life and long-term disability.
Motion? Questions? Motion seconded. We have any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Member Peril?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Next up, Ms. Hawks.
Thank you, President Quigley. Action Report 13.1 this evening is the Consolidated Action Report for Certified and Classified Personnel. We're seeking your approval on 30 items for certified personnel, 33 for classified personnel, 3 for classified administrative personnel, and 3 for certified administrative personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Peril?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell? Yes. Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next, Ms. Hawks.
My second action report this evening is 13.2, resolution number 1601. We're requesting the board to approve the recommendation of dismissal of educational support personnel employee for reasons other than reduction in force.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Peril?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next up, job
And
descriptions.
My final action report this evening is 13.3. We're bringing 2 job descriptions before the board this evening. We're asking that you waive the information report and move directly for action. Just a little bit of information on these job descriptions that we're bringing. They are for new positions. The one is the registered behavior aide. This is a position that would be used to support some of our self-contained special education programs. The aide would have training that would provide them with skills to help with behavioral supports. So this is additional training that we have not already had with some of our other aide positions. The other position is a learning environment coordinator. And the job description that is being brought for this position is in response to staff voice and also student needs that we have collected. We have some of our students in severe stress or crisis situations, specifically at the elementary level. They require extensive supports and interventions to help reduce or eliminate behaviors causing missed instructional time. Currently, our elementary staffing schedule does not fulfill this need. The duties of the Learning Environment Coordinator focus mainly on 3 areas: crisis and stress response, in addition to our current crisis response team, provide, coordinate, and train staff in areas of intensive interventions, and they serve as direct support to building staff and administration as needed. Some examples of what this might look like is the Learning Environment Coordinator would work alongside classroom staff, coaching them on implementing modifications, adaptations, interventions, and supports necessary to ensure a safe, optimal, engaging, and responsive and trauma-sensitive environment. They would be required to complete extensive training in the areas of social and emotional learning, managing aggressive behavior, and crisis response. And I believe our union president, Ms. Claudine Sharkle, would like to share some information with you if she'd like to come to the podium.
Come on up, ladies.
Good evening, Board of Education, senior leadership. I'm Claudine Sharko, the president of the Valley View Council, Local 604, and this is my vice president, Rachel Delamorte. And just speaking of unions, you know, I know there's a lot of talk about negotiations coming up, but the unions and our labor management relations go beyond that. I'm very proud to work with Dr. Mitchum. He's very receptive to the concerns that we bring forth to him in senior leadership. You know, contractually, we're supposed to meet every 2 weeks or once a month, I think what the contract says, but we have a relationship beyond that. Last year, we came to the board because as union leaders, overseeing 21 buildings and having representatives in all of those buildings, we were hearing that there was escalation and aggressive behavior among students. The teachers were becoming increasingly concerned, their safety, and that, of course, of our students as well. So we came to the board last year and we started to do a universal response, responsive learning classroom. Yes, that's our expert over here, Rachel. And so, however, it's a universally implemented program that obviously takes baby steps. It's not going to just, you know, that first year, we're not going to see the results that we want to see. So we're coming back to the table again and talking with Dr. Mitchum and senior leadership, and again, the behaviors are increasingly becoming aggressive. And, you know, a lot of our children are coming to us with very adverse childhood experiences, and we do not turn our back on any child. However, we went back to the table and I said, you know, Dr. Mitchum, there's really a need here. And so I really hope that the board will really take this into consideration. You know, we're doing meet and greets, we're pushing into all of our buildings, we're talking to our members face to face, and, you know, just hearing about their issues, and this is increasingly becoming an issue, and the matter has to be dealt with in an urgent manner. So I hope that when you're considering this action report that it is needed and it needs to happen now. The urgency is there, the staff needs the support, the students in the classroom need the support, but also the children who are coming with these traumatic experiences need the support. So I hope that you will consider this, and I also want to thank Dr. Mitchum for once again having these hard conversations that we need to have, but also taking the step further to go into our buildings, which I think is critical as a leader. I don't think we can be leaders behind a desk sending emails, and that's what I said to some of our members today coming to JJL and SCOFF, but we have to talk face-to-face about what's facing what I call the trenches in the classroom and what we're dealing with on an everyday basis. So, Dr. Mitchum, thank you for being responsive to that. I believe that our relationship has been extremely collaborative, and I don't like to use the labor management lingo, but we generally have a vested interest in our schools and our children, and I hope that you will consider this action report this evening.
Thank you. Rachel, you just up there to nod? You got your cheerleader, you gotta have one. Where are we at?
So we're recommending your approval this evening on these job descriptions. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to try to answer those for you right now.
Need a motion? We have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Now, are there any questions?
I have a question. So the registered behavior aid, there's one for each building?
No, this is just on an as-needed basis. So, for example, we have in one of our programs a opening due to a resignation. So we would look at that and see if the program needed an aide that had that special training and skills, and if so, then we would, instead of hiring a program aide, we'll hire a registered behavior aide. So it's not necessarily that we're given one to each program, it's on an as-needed basis.
So will there be any hired, you know, out of the gate that you would send to schools as needed, or?
We currently have two positions that we would like to fill instead of a program aide with the registered behavior aide.
Okay. And the other position, the first one, whatever it was called.
The Learning Environment Coordinator?
Yeah, that's one person, right?
We're still evaluating that right now. We're looking at data from some of our buildings to see what exactly we need to do with that. But knowing that there was a need for the position, we wanted to bring that to you before, so we could start moving as quickly as possible.
And then also having this job description approved when we come to staffing and allocations time, coming up in the winter and, in through February, that would be taken into consideration when we're staffing all of our elementary buildings, that job position was available.
And is this only at the elementary level that you're looking right now?
As of right now, yes, that is where we're looking at.
I just attended a workshop over last Thursday and Friday that dealt with the social emotional learner. And many districts have somebody at central administration who deals with it, and then others out in the field that help the teachers out. So in that respect, we probably need to get up to par because, we're a large school district that needs that help. The teachers need that help in dealing with those students, I feel.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote would be in order.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Oops. Where are we at next here? Hang on. Superintendent information reports. Dr. Mitchum.
Okay, I have the first one. Information report 14.1 is our special education extended school year program. On an annual basis, we bring for your information and approval the program that we offer for extended school year. This program is for a limited portion of our special education population. This is for students specifically who exhibit considerable regression of learned skills and an inability to recoup the loss in a reasonable period of time. This is identified in that student's individualized education plan, or their IEP. So we would continue to offer our ESY program in the summer for this limited population of students. Early childhood program would be at our Valley View Early Childhood Center. Elementary students would be located at R.C. Hill Elementary, and middle, high, and step students would be located at Bolingbrook High School. The calendar would run June 4th through June 29th. Certified and classified staff that would require staffing for this program is outlined. Those staff would be provided 3 hours of professional development to get prepared for the program. The costs are outlined in the information report provided, including staffing. Programming costs are covered by Medicaid and local funds. Certified and classified personnel are reimbursed at standard contractual rates. And we also do provide transportation as a district, and we receive the usual state reimbursement. So the details are broken down in the information report regarding the staffing needs that this program requires, as well as the budget. And we'd be happy to answer any questions this evening or between now and the next board meeting.
Motion?
It's
sorry,
just
information
information.
only. Any questions? We do this every year.
We do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, next is 14.2. I'm going to invite Tracy Miller, our Assistant Director of Assessment and Continuous Improvement, up to the podium. Tonight, we're just going to share some information with you very briefly about the Illinois School Report Card and the availability of an online platform that's available to the public. Tracy is going to just give us a brief overview of what information is available and how this information may be accessed in this platform at the Illinois School Report Card. We did share an academic progress update, so a lot of the information has been shared with the board and the community previously, so we won't go in depth, but we'll just kind of give you a brief overview. Tracy?
I think we're working on the tech, but I'll go ahead and introduce myself again. President Quigley, Board of Education, Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, and community members. Thank you for allowing me to take a few minutes this evening to share a brief update regarding the recent release of Valley View's report card on the Illinois School Report Card website. On Friday, November 3rd, 2017, the Illinois State Board of Education released the 2017 Illinois School Report Card. The annual Illinois Report Card shows performance and progress for schools, districts, and the state overall on a wide range of educational metrics. The Illinois State Board of Education collects most of the data in the Illinois School Report Card through data systems such as the State Student Information System. School principals also have the ability to directly enter items under the school's highlight section, which can be updated anytime during the course of the school year. There are 3 ways to view the information included on the school report card. First, there's an at-a-glance report that provides important information about each school or district in a 1-page printable format. Second, the Illinois State Board of Education provides the online report card that delivers in-depth information and graphics with explanations for each indicator. Finally, the Illinois State Board of Education releases a PDF report card, which contains a number of charts displaying the data presented within the online platform. I wanted to take a few moments to demonstrate how to find this information about Valley View using the Illinois School Report Card website. So you start by going to www.illinoisreportcard.com. And when it loads, you're going to go to the search bar and type in Valley View. You'll see that there's a number of choices. If you select Valley View CUSD 365 View, you're automatically taken to the dashboard. On the dashboard, you can see the PDF report as well as the at-a-glance report. Oh, did I pick the wrong one? Oh no. Let's try that again. It is.
That's
There we
the danger
go.
of
Down,
real time.
down. There we go. Did I get it right this time? Okay. Illinois School Report Card, there's the PDF link, and then at the top you can see the view, the at-a-glance PDF. So that's where you would access those two versions. And then along the left-hand side, you can see that there are 7 different metrics. These include academic progress, district environment, students, teachers, administrators, schools and district, and then retired tests. If you select any one of those areas, you'll get a number of other indicators that you can then delve into for further explanation. So for example, if I click here, it gives me more information about our park scores whenever it decides to load. There we go. District level highlights from the 2017 Illinois School Report Card include the student to certified staff ratio is lower in Valley View than in other districts in the state. A greater percentage of Valley View educators have earned master's degrees or higher than is observed in the rest of the state. Valley View has a higher percentage of students meeting and or exceeding state standards as compared to the state average. As Ms. Kinder mentioned earlier, this was presented in a previous board report, which primarily centered on our cohort growth. Of particular celebration for Valley View is that we increased the percentage of students meeting or exceeding on PARCC by 3.5% from 2016 to 2017, whereas the state average during the same timeline only increased by 0.7%. Additionally, the Illinois School Report Card indicates that Valley View allocates a larger percentage of our budget to instruction than is typical for other districts in the state. We allocate a larger percentage of our budget to supporting students than is typical in other districts in Illinois. And finally, Valley View has a higher percentage of freshmen on track to graduate, and we have a higher four-year graduation rate than the state. Are there any questions that I can answer about this presentation? All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Numbers look great. Thank you. Keep moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy.
New teacher math study survey.
Yes, so the information report 14.3, we're presenting information this evening to share the initial results of a research study that includes some of our very own elementary educators in the area of mathematics. We have many affirmations that the hard work of our educators is making an impact on our students, a very positive impact. And this study speaks to the positive instructional practices of our teachers and the support provided by our leaders. It's another validation that we're moving in the right direction. So I'm inviting Adam Herder, the Executive Director of Pre-K 5, and Jill Choukalis, who is our Director of Math and Science. And we also have a teacher who participated in the study. And so, it's Chanel, sorry. And Chanel, they will share some information with you about the study this evening.
Okay, thank you. This is a brief report. However, we felt that it was extremely important to share as a point of pride and also just recognition of the success that our teachers have in the classroom. A few details about the study, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Choukalis to walk you through the results of the study and how we're going to build off of those even further. This was done in partnership, similar to what President Sharko mentioned earlier, with the VVSD union. We actually sought their guidance in terms of having our teachers participate in this study 3.5 years ago. as it was a study of new educators that was being done at Michigan State and the University of Virginia in a variety of districts in several states. Overall, 82 educators in 8 districts total, including Valley View. 14 teachers from Valley View in grades 1 through 5. And it was teachers in their first 5 years of teaching. And essentially, when we were approached to participate in the study, we were told that the teachers would essentially be given the opportunity to complete surveys about their instruction in mathematics and the support for their instruction as new educators. And we were excited not only to participate, and we had great response from the teachers who were eligible to participate. And I'm happy that Chanel is here this evening to share with you in firsthand what it was like to participate in the study. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Choukalis, who can kind of walk us through the pretty fantastic results that we were just given recently.
Okay, so during the research that took place in 2015 to 2016, the TRUE framework was used. The TRUE framework, TRUE stands for Teaching for Robust Understanding in Mathematics Instruction. The TRUE framework is centered around the idea that when the environment supports student learning along the dimensions that are included in the scoring rubric, that students will emerge from that learning environment as knowledgeable, flexible, and resourceful thinkers and problem solvers. The TRUE framework can be used to enhance math instruction when the dimensions are considered for planning for instruction, implementing, and then reflecting on the math instruction. The framework is rooted in a comprehensive review of research related to teaching and learning that gives teachers a focus, which will produce sustained improvement in teaching and student understanding over time. Mr. Herder and I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Lane to review the findings from this study of elementary math instruction. Throughout the study, observations were conducted in Valley View classrooms that had teachers classified as early career teachers, meaning they had less than 5 years of teaching experience. The researchers observed in 14 Valley View classrooms as well as 82 other classrooms across 7 different school districts in Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Observers used the TRUE scoring rubric to measure math instruction. The observations focused on 4 dimensions from the TRUE scoring guide. The first dimension being the mathematics, which is just the mathematical content. The second being cognitive demand, which is the extent at which the students were supported in grappling with math, making sense of mathematical concepts. The third being student agency, which was how students explained their thinking, took ownership of their mathematical thoughts, and engaged in mathematical conversations where they built upon each other's ideas. And the final one was the use of assessment, and that was how the teachers adjusted their instruction based on student ideas and any misconceptions that arose during instruction. Each dimension was scored using a 3-point scale, and the results from this study are shown on the screen. The graph on the top shows how 14 Valley View teachers grew from the fall of 2015 to the spring of 2016 across those 4 dimensions of the TRUE rubric. The graph on the bottom shows how 82 teachers from the other 7 districts performed using that same rubric. According to Dr. Lane, Valley View teachers experienced the most significant improvement in their TRUE math scores during the research study. We have Mrs. Chanel Lawson with us tonight. She is currently a teaching and learning coach, but she was one of the teachers that participated in the study, and she's here to briefly share her experience.
Thank you. As a new teacher, I was asked to participate in this study, not necessarily knowing what I was getting myself into. And over the course of the study, I would work with Dr. Lane and his colleagues, completing surveys about my instruction, my planning, collaboration with other teachers, as well as assessment. And over the course of that, they would come out and observe in my classroom, and I would also participate in interviews that, again, address those different areas, and it kind of made me reflect and grow, I think, as a math teacher, and really work on honing in my skills.
Thank you, Chanel. For the past 2 years, we have worked with a math coach from the Metro Chicago Mathematics Initiative program through the University of Illinois at Chicago. Last year, she worked with our challenge teachers during their math instruction, and this year she is focusing on our 4th grade teachers during their math instruction. Our math coach introduces this rubric to the teachers that she works with and uses it as a reflective tool to help those teachers think about their own math teaching practices. The members of our elementary curriculum department have also started to embed components of this rubric into our conversations and professional development with the teams that we are working with. Our teaching and learning coaches were introduced to this rubric earlier this school year, and we have plans to expand their understanding of the TRUE framework to embed in the reflective work that they are doing with our elementary teachers surrounding math instruction. Dr. Lane also shared with us that more study results would follow in 2018 based on teacher interviews, and we look forward to sharing those with you as we learn more. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, it's good to be number one, huh? Is that it?
Yes.
You're good, Adam? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Uh-oh, here comes the
I
math
do have a
teacher.
question.
Yes,
The-
please.
The increments on the, on your graph, are they going up by 0.2 of a point? Just a question.
Yes, and so if you could throw this back up there. The way the study, the rubric works, and with the True Math rubric, it's on a 3-point scale. And what was explained to us by Dr. Lane when he shared the results was that 3.0 is essentially what we would consider completely aspirational and nearly impossible for a teacher to achieve at. A 2.0 would be considered generally what we evaluate teachers who are proficient or above, so very successful teachers in terms of their practice. And so you are correct, for example, the top blue line, which represents the mathematical content scores, went from about 1.8 to just over 2.0.
So this is based, the numbers are based on the rubric scale?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so while they look minor in terms of
Right.
gains, it's based on a very small scale. So in terms of percentage of ability to grow, it's actually pretty significant.
Yeah.
And what we were especially excited about was just the other districts were described to us as having diverse populations, whereas Valley View was in the bottom in terms of economically disadvantaged families, students eligible for free and reduced lunch.
Okay.
Several of these districts, in like Indianapolis specifically, were suburban affluent districts outside of like the general urban area. And so our goal of meeting the needs of every student, regardless of what they bring to school, we were proud that these 14 teachers were able to exhibit those results when all of these other districts were not at the exact same time with the exact same standards, often with more significant resources. And so we were just very proud of what those teachers were able to accomplish coming into Valley View as new educators and still managing to produce these results.
Nice job. It was really deceiving to see it go by increments of 0.2 and thinking that they hadn't gone up much, but when it's based on a scale of 3, they've gone quite significantly. Thank you.
Definitely, thank you.
Legal services report.
I have a report today.
Thank you. AFT report. Valley View Council report. Valley View Office Personnel Council report. Old business before the board this evening. Any new business before the board this evening? Any questions from the public on actions we have taken this evening? Please state your name and where you're from.
Good evening. My name is Ildiko Carter, and I'm a resident of Bolingbrook for 17 years and also parent of 4 kids that went to Valley View School District. I was trying to get a question in, I didn't know what exactly went, old business or new. And the question was that I was presented in August with a new district policy, 7.245, student audio recordings of student-related meetings. My question and also proposal would be, and this is in the name of other parents whose language, English is not their first language, was why is the new changes that we parents who have a hard time understanding meetings have to have a disability now suddenly to be able to record those meetings that helped us understand, go back, get the details, get somebody translate it to us. And I understand the district offers interpreters. And in the last 3 years, I've been using the recordings in the meetings, and I did try the interpreter, but when it comes to certain meetings, those individuals are not capable to translate the wording. And this is going to be my example. Special education terms, those are that I don't know anything of. They are just there and trying to describe the words. So since the district is a Title I company, parents' participation, I think it's very important. And just like OSEP, Office of Special Education and Rehabilitation Services recommended, if there's a policy of the district that should make sure that it helps the parents to participate in the meetings, or if a parent can be there so they can go back, and that did help in the past too. So we're just wondering, and I'm not alone, but I brought up my example, is a lot of us don't understand half of what's being said, and unfortunately interpreters brought into those meetings can't always translate everything. So that was the question and a proposal to please review this policy again and kind of just think of us that have a hard time, where I was mentioned like, you don't understand us. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to. And that's when I go back to my recordings and listen and ask for help for a parent who couldn't be there, or my husband, and he helps me translate, or I get a translator. So that would be my kind of question and a request to look at that policy, please. Okay?
Now we'll say 3. National School Board Member Day, which is November 15th. So I would just like to take this time to acknowledge my fellow school board members today, and even on that day, November 15th, this Wednesday.
Any other announcements? Any announcements by the administration?
Yes. In honor of School Board Member Day this Wednesday, November 15, 2017, on behalf of the entire Valley View School District 365U certified staff, classified staff, and administration, I'm presenting to each board member compliments of our very own Renee O'Flynn, a homemade handcrafted caramel candies encased in a beautiful glass jar with a pretty blue ribbon. This item is under the dais next to your feet. So if you can still reach down there, don't hurt yourselves. We can get somebody to get it for you.
Vic took mine.
Aha. Oh, how lovely.
Thank you.
I'm not done.
Whoever made the caramel. My dentures appreciate it. Well, while we're on that topic.
This gift is a token of our appreciation for all that you do, and in the words of Shelley Sandberg, whom I have no clue who she is, but it was a nice quote. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that that impact that lasts in your absence. This is a legacy you are leaving with Valley View. Thank you very much, board members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I might add that I know pretty much everybody out there knows that we don't get paid to do this. Some members put in an enormous amount of time. Sometimes it's by the week, sometimes it's by the month, sometimes it's just consistent. You do take time away from your family and your personal business or professional business on occasion. I do want to thank my fellow board members for that dedication. Those who've been here a long time, those who've been here a medium amount of time, and some of the new people on the board are learning that as we go along. But it's not unappreciated, and certainly recognized in the community when you go out and you talk to people in the community at the various events that we all attend and the schools that we attend. So, but it makes it easier to be a board member when you have the district is moving in the right direction, and we have been for many years now. We have a great story to tell, and I think that story is getting better. The measure of your community, in my humble opinion, is very simple. Would you buy a house here? And if your answer is yes, then we must be doing something right, especially if you have children. Would you buy a house here? So I think that's one of the things that we've done. And I do know that people come up to me and say, you guys got a really good thing going there and nobody knows about it. And we're like, that's the way we like it. So
Speaking of stories to tell, to my right, their left, is a banner that just highlights some of the national and state awards that Valley View has won in the 2016-2017 school year. And we do anticipate adding even more accolades to that banner this year as well.
And we are certainly not going to rest on our laurels. I know that. So, let's see. Any questions from the public? Announcements? Any announcements by the public? Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Have a safe ride home and a great Thanksgiving, one and all. And we hope to see you at the next board meeting, which is when? December 18th, I believe. Oh, motion to
December 11th.
adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it.